Welcome to Everything Life and Real Estate. Let's get started with our hosts, Linda McKissick and Dana Gentry.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Everything Life and Real Estate. I'm Linda
And I'm
McKissick.
Dana Gentry.
Hey, Dana. Good to see you this week.
You too. Linda, I was going to tell you, I have just been, I know you, this happens to you too. I've been getting so many positive comments on the podcast. Like everywhere I go. I was in Chicago this week and everyone was like, we love the podcast. I mean, it was so sweet.
Oh, awesome. I love confirmation, don't you?
Yes, so much.
Sometimes you sit and go, is it doing any good? Is it helping anybody? Those kind of things. Yeah, and a couple of people from we asked people that were on my 10X challenge this week, how did you hear about us? And quite a few come from the podcast. So we're not just talking to each other alone, Dana. We have people listening. So that's exciting.
Very exciting.
So more pressure to bring great content that we know that can help people, which kind of brings me to our topic today. Man, I am learning so much from doing this 10X challenge. I feel like we all have so much in common, especially in our industry or any entrepreneur, to be honest with you, because I've had different entrepreneurs on the challenge, not just real estate agents. But, you know, one of the things that is very apparent is bottlenecks and kind of how long we tolerate those without understanding. You know, a bottleneck is anything that's kind of slowing down your progress. And our businesses and our lives only grow to the speed of the weakest point we have. And the weakest point is wherever there's a bottleneck. And so it really has become apparent to me because I'm listening to people say, hey, I've had this on my goal sheet for over 3 years. I really want to do this. This is super. And it's not little things that's not important. It's very important things. And I realize that until you bring light to it and people understand what they are, you know, how to find them, what to do about them, man, people can stay stuck for months and years and years. And so that kind of made me think about it. And so, you know, I mean, I don't know if you've even experienced that yourself, but I know I've had times in my life where, you know, I've had a bottleneck and I just mask it with the current success I have instead of doing something about it. And so I think it's important to kind of pay attention to those. I always, you know, my saying, once you know something, you can't pretend you don't. So I like bringing things to light that are common for all of us, but maybe hidden from us. I have a cold today, so I sound like a frog or something.
And I was going to actually tell you should be drinking some hot tea.
Okay,
I love this, and I think this is so good. If someone's listening and they're like, what even is a bottleneck? Or, you know, what are some examples of some, what are some for you, Linda? I think I have one or two, so I'm anxious to see.
Yeah. You mean like the types of bottlenecks? Well, I think it's anytime we want something that's important to us, like a big goal or a goal in our life, and it's not moving forward, then you gotta inspect where am I stuck? Why is it not moving forward? Because if it's important to you, then how long are you willing to stay, you know, stuck in that arena and not find what the bottleneck is? And sometimes it's a skill we have that we don't have that we need, you know, and you can either hire that out or build it yourself. Sometimes it's a system that we haven't built around something, so we keep running up against the same bottleneck. And then the one that I've really been working with people on is we don't have the right identity attached to what we need to get that goal, right? You know, one of the things we talked about in my challenge this week is your current success is based on an identity that you wanted at some point, right? And it wasn't the identity you currently had. So once you get an idea of that identity and you can start to ask yourself questions like, what would this person say yes to? What would they say no to? What next action would they take? Then all of a sudden, you start acting as that person. And I think most people want to do it backwards. They want to get all the things and then become that person. But you almost have to, you know, think about it. If you want to be a healthy person, you don't just think your way to being a healthy person. You think, how would a healthy person act? What would they eat today? How much would they exercise? All of those things. And as you begin to be that person, you start to get those results. And so I think of all of them, identity is the one that can move us through it the fastest, because if I can get clear on, I've got this on my sheet, it's important to me, I've sat here with it over 3 years, who's the person that would be moving forward on it? who is that? What's that identity that I would have to move forward on it? And I think those are the types of bottlenecks. And none of us are usually system
Yeah.
people. And I remember saying years ago, many, many times, when I get a system, I will do that. When I get a system, I will do that. And finally, my coach said, "You're never going to get a system. You're not a systems
Yeah.
person. All you get a system is go hire
To get the
someone,
system.
either temporarily or full
Yeah.
time." And so he and I went together and paid for the industrial tech writer to start following my
Yeah.
team around and create the
Yeah.
systems,
Yeah.
right? So I think, sometimes we get stalled because I hear a lot of agents say, "Well, I need a system. I need a
Yeah.
system." And you're probably never going to have a system. And if you
Yeah.
do, if you take away from what your dollar productive
Yeah.
stuff is and spend it on building
Yeah.
a system, you're probably going from $500 an hour or
To 20.
1,000 to
Yeah. Yeah,
$30 an hour.
totally. Well, okay, so I was just writing and thinking through this. I mean, when I think in the past, do you think these are, I think, two the biggest bottlenecks that I've had? And tell me if you think these are actual bottlenecks. But when I look over times where I've been really stuck, my bottlenecks were either my calendar or also said my time. Um,
Yeah.
has been a huge bottleneck, and then the other one is really a lack of the right people, like the lack of a who has been and like whenever I've had a right who, then I've gotten out of the bottleneck, and it's made me be able to have progress towards hitting whatever that next goal is.
Yeah.
But I think those are
Yeah.
probably the two that I have always struggled, continue and have struggled with the most as it when it comes to like things slowing down my progress.
Yeah, and so much of the time, Dana, we are tied to that old
Yeah.
identity and all the things that have made us successful
Yep.
there, and that's what goes in our
Yeah.
calendar. We're not looking and saying, if I keep these things in my calendar and I keep doing this with my time, I'm going to keep getting what I
Yeah.
got, right? And sometimes letting go of those things feels scary because we're letting go of things that have actually made us successful up until
That's
this
right.
point, right? That's where the fear comes in to actually go and investigate and say, am I fooling myself to say I have to be the one to
Yeah.
do this, right? If it has to be done, do I really have to be the one to do it? Because when we're saying yes to one thing, we're absolutely saying no to the bigger identity that we want, the bigger goals.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. So when people identify their bottlenecks, have you all talked about this on the challenge at all? Like once they know what theirs is, then how do they fix it? No.
Yeah, fix it is the thing. Well, I think the first thing that has to happen is you have to associate a
Oh
cost with
yeah,
it.
that's good.
Until we actually see the cost of something. So most of us have a really hard time identifying a cost that's in the future. And most of the time, it's not costing us right
Yeah.
now, but it's costing us something in the future, like lost
Yeah.
income, burnout
Oh yeah.
eventually. Man, am I seeing so much
Yeah.
burnout? People that are uber successful, but they're completely burnt out, right? Stalled growth,
Yeah.
um, hidden ceilings that they're just not seeing that's keeping them where they are instead of who they could actually become.
Mhm.
So I think the first thing we have to do is tie the cost to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we can't see it and feel it at this time, we don't associate a cost
Yeah.
to it. And it is actually costing us. It's an opportunity cost. It's a future potential cost. It's a future outcome cost. But we're just not associating that with it, right?
Mhm, mhm. That reminds me of when I talk about in my keynote about the opportunity cost of not multiplying your talents. Like it's scary as heck to
Yeah.
think about what,
Yeah.
not multiplying your talents. Like what is the opportunity cost on that?
Yeah, and I think we go so fast and we do so much that we don't really stop when there's
Yeah.
friction, and what we should do is start to pay attention to that
Yeah.
friction because you gotta follow the friction, and where does it feel slow or stuck, right? And we just keep moving instead of going back and there we go back to what John has always taught us,
And
preparation and
reflection.
reflection,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, and and then look for the
Yeah.
pileup. What work is stacking up? What results are not getting done? Where is it stacking up
Mhm.
at? And then what would break if I 10x'd it? What would have to break in my what I'm currently
Mhm.
doing? And that's the hard
Yeah.
part. Nobody wants to break their current system and their current
Yeah.
success. They have the fear of, well, I've got a reputation tied around this. I've got income that I need from this. All of those
Yeah.
things are natural fears that come up. And then, but the reality is, comfort is often the camouflage for our biggest
Oh yeah,
constraint.
always. Yeah. So good.
And so learning to say, okay, wait, there's a friction here. And usually at that point of friction is the time to investigate and ask those deeper questions and reflect on,
Mhm.
okay, what is, what's the real, Dan Sullivan says all progress starts by telling the truth.
Mhm.
And I think that's where it starts. What's the truth? What is the truth that I'm ignoring here for whatever reason?
Mhm.
That I'm just letting it be a bottleneck for months and years at a time.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. It's funny because even as you say that, I'm just writing something down, thinking about there's one area of our business I feel like we just keep getting just can't get caught up in. And when I look at the truth that I'm ignoring, I think it's because my who's are completely overworked. Like they're doing so much right now that they're maybe other things are getting missed, and it's like continuing to be a bottleneck. Um,
Yeah.
but I don't even think. But if I say, I feel like everyone's overworked, they're like, no, 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 we got it, we got it, we got it. But it's like, but really, I think that could be part of it. And if we said we were going to 10x something, whoo, a lot of stuff would break right now.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing. People don't do what we tell them. They do what they
Yeah,
self-discover. So really, as a leader, what we have to do is say, how do I get them to self-discover this on their own instead of me having this bright
that's
idea that I hand down to
yep,
them that if they yeah, but no, or whatever, they can actually have their aha
yeah,
moment, and maybe it's a story that they hear from someone that they can
yep,
resonate with. Maybe it's deep questions that make them look for that. I'm going to give a download today on exercise people can go through to find the
oh,
bottlenecks.
good,
And then the other thing is, how experientially, how can we get them to
yeah,
discover it, right? Once we do that, they always say authorship is
yeah,
ownership. So as leaders, we might see the thing, but until they see it, they probably won't
yeah,
fix it. And then we'll stay frustrated because we can see it so clearly and they
that's
can't.
right, yeah, yeah, totally, that makes so much sense, yeah,
So let me go back to a couple of ways to
yep,
fix a bottleneck. Number one is eliminate or remove what shouldn't exist.
mhm,
And what I mean by shouldn't exist is if I'm taking my 10x goal and I'm living there in a moment and I'm saying, who do I have to be or who do we have to
yep,
be to accomplish this 10x? And now look back and say, what has to be
mm,
removed. Even if it causes you panic, you get nervous about it, just be honest about it
yeah,
first, right? Remove what shouldn't exist. And maybe that's just exist from their calendars and has to get moved to
yep,
somebody else or removed from your calendars to their calendars. And then where can we automate? Where can we build a system around this so we don't have to keep coming up against the same friction?
yeah,
And always ask who, not how, who can do it, who should be doing it, and get out of the how of how this needs to be done.
yep,
Upgrade yourself, you and them. Who do they have to upgrade themselves to be able to grow into that next level? And then the main thing about that having that future identity that's different than the one you've currently got is it makes you create a standard of who and what they will actually
mm,
accept. Right now we're accepting
yep,
lots of
yep,
things that don't support that bigger goal, right? And until we kind of in our mind upgrade ourselves and no longer, one of the girls, this was really cool. One of the girls on the challenge said that last year she wanted to go on a 2-month
yeah,
trip out of the country. And so she said a lot by just saying it out loud to
yeah,
my team forced everybody to start looking at what they were doing, how they were doing it, and how are they going to make that happen.
yeah, because I mean, that's a big commitment
Especially in this,
in this
she's
industry,
a realtor.
yeah,
Well, any
yeah,
entrepreneur would say
yeah,
that, especially if you have a small business or whatever, but especially real estate,
yep,
right? And once you do that, you have evidence that it actually can be
mhm,
done and it builds your
that's right,
belief. The problem is with all of this is we're having to do a lot of it before we have the belief that it's
yeah,
possible or that we can do it or that the whole thing won't fall
yep,
apart. You know
yep,
what I mean?
yep, yeah, so true, But so many of
But
these are so good though, because even just simply, especially now, I mean, gosh, we're all learning so much AI, but I mean, especially just saying like, where can you automate something? And instead of worrying about
yeah,
how we're going to get this done, who's actually going to get, I mean, those are just such simple questions that could really change the trajectory of a certain outcome or situation because it's just causing you to think different.
yeah, yeah. And, especially something that is repeated over and over again, some things require systems and some things require
Yeah.
talent. You could look at everything you do and say, does that really require a system or a
Yep. Yep.
talent? And then what happens is the talent is being used for the bigger goal. It's not using on stuff you know, that a system could
Yep.
fix, because that's beneath everybody's identity. If you have a bigger future and a brighter identity, then all of a sudden, when you're working on a system, that's not supporting that future
Mm,
identity, because it could be a system that puts in place. And more than likely, you're not the systems
yep.
person. So you might have to find a systems person to say, hey, here's what we keep coming up
Mm,
against. And how do we create a system so it's
yeah.
automatic and it doesn't require my talented
Yeah.
people who I'm paying very good money, and they have a very good cost associated with them not getting the results they want.
Mhm.
Then how do we make that a system or automatic?
I just had a call. I'm gonna have this person go back and listen to this episode because I just had a call with an agent and they're just stuck right now. Been in the business a long time. Yeah, it like so many are. I mean, we had this conversation on the last podcast episode, but again, and he just said, I just don't like this anymore, and I'm like. I don't know that many people like that. Welcome to a shift. Welcome to a down market. I mean, that's just it's
Yeah,
where we're at. And he's like, I'm past doing the things that I did to build my business. And I'm like, yeah, well, everybody is, but in a shift, you go back to doing the thing. So I say all this because he's feeling a major bottleneck
yeah,
right now. Normally doing 30 closed units a quarter and had four in Q1, four closings in Q1 or five, I think it was. I mean, way less.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and so I said, you've got to make a good pros and cons list of because he's kind of contemplating some other big decisions. But I said, you really need to make a good pros and cons list and figure out, why are you stuck? Like, is it the people? Is it you aren't following the systems? Is it you aren't in the right alignment? Like, what is it? And then yesterday I had another call with another agent, not even in our region, who's like, help, like I'm so stuck. I mean, it's just one thing, but
yeah.
it's all
It's
bottlenecks.
Yes, I asked the group this time on the challenge, what actually caused you to click on the button to join the challenge? Almost every one of them said, I'm just stuck. I've lost the momentum that I had. I've lost the
Yeah.
passion. And these are not successful
Right.
people. What I find is it's actually the success that they've gotten so far that's causing them to
Yep.
bottleneck and stay
Yeah.
stuck, right? And that's so hard to get your arms around and
Yeah.
understand, because we are wired to grow and keep
Yep.
progressing. And we get so stuck in the success that we've already had that we stop
Yeah.
doing that. And so I think, one thing that would help everybody is to really just ask, if you don't have the passion, just think for a minute. What would be a big goal that if I set it for myself, number one, I'd get nervous and
Yeah.
scared. I always say excited and scared, because excited by itself wears off, but scared by itself is
Yes.
terrifying. Don't want that either. But if you put them together, some magic can
Yeah.
happen. And when you're just blah and you don't have the same energy and urgency that you had in the beginning, all that comes together as
Yep.
stuck and burnt out and all the things. And so I have to tell you, I'm having so many ahas,
Mhm.
because I'm really getting to see, you and I kept getting it on the
Yeah.
podcast, and we kept thinking, okay, what is the answer here? And you know how Roy Vaden and everybody always says you got to find out your
Yeah.
niche, right? And you and I struggle with that because we want to help the
Yep.
whole world. But the other thing he says is you got to find the problem you solve, and I taught this week. You don't solve any of your problems by waiting to take action. You start to solve them by
Yeah,
taking
that's right.
action, right? And so most people don't want to do that. But in the middle of our very first challenge that we did, when we were doing it, we realized, okay, the problem we actually solve is
Yeah.
complacency.
Yeah.
everybody has success and then they get complacent in comfort. I even think back on the $600,000 in debt that Jimmy and I got into. We were just riding on the success that he had already
Yeah,
had from being in nightclubs and restaurants and having great success. And life is going to give you an opportunity to build those bigger goals that's going to give you energy and passion again, either by a gradually and suddenly that pushes you in a
that's right.
hole, or you're going to have to learn how to use this as a tool
Yeah,
yourself. And so it's kind of hard in the beginning of the week when I start telling people, you got to have a bigger goal.
yeah,
They're like, what? Wait a minute, I'm burnt out on the ones I
yep,
have, right? But what we really are missing is that passion and that sense of urgency that we had in the
yeah,
beginning that started to build our businesses and our success so far. So I love it. I'm really enjoying what I'm self-discovering, and I really do see a way to help people
yeah,
solve this,
totally.
right? I don't think and I don't want to see them make major. This is still the best industry in the
Yeah.
world. And if you quit this one to go do something
Mhm.
else, all they're going to do is give you a job description and you're going to do it and you're going to hit the same ceiling and the same burnout eventually there
Yeah.
too. 'Cause yes, I agree the market helps push people to the burnout a little bit
Mhm.
faster, but I don't think it's just the market. You know, I think it's just where you
Yeah.
get after you've had some level of success and you don't keep setting bigger goals that excite you and energize you and
Yeah.
understand, uh, that burnout's just part of everything if you don't keep progressing and learning
Mhm.
and growing. We're humans. We're wired to keep growing and seeing what else we can
Yeah,
achieve.
it totally reminds me of that. I've shared this so many times, but this is like a life-changing quote for me. It'll go down as like one of my top 5 favorites of all times. When Amy Porterfield said, "Human beings find happiness in progress. When you're not making progress, then it starts to get dark and you start to spiral." And that's
Gosh,
so true.
I'm going to steal that,
Yeah,
by the way.
Amy
Thank you,
Porterfield.
Amy.
Yeah, you should have that in there. I mean, I'll send it to you. It is so good. I mean, it's so true. Anytime I find myself in a dark space or I'm starting to spiral, it's because I'm not making progress in something and I can't
Yes, yes.
stand it.
Yeah, and Dana, I've researched because there's so much scientific evidence behind all this that we act confused about it, but the truth is it's scientifically
Yeah.
proven we're wired
Yeah.
that way. Humans and then here's the interesting thing. We're wired that way, and then our brains immediately go to work to tell us why that's a
That's
bad
right.
idea because it's trying to
Yeah.
protect us from stuff that we don't even need protecting from. So you've got this push and pull going on inside you. And then we've also, as a society, made people feel bad for seeing what else they could
Yeah.
achieve. And I don't know if God made us that way. Uh, who in the world has decided we should feel
Yeah,
bad about
no,
that,
Lord,
right?
that
And
goes back to the parable of the talents again. I mean, you
yeah,
literally are called to to multiply your talents. I mean, biblically, you are called to multiply your talent every day until your last breath.
yeah, yeah. So I think and part of the thing we just covered in the 10X Accelerator is understanding the difference between naysayers and
Oh yeah.
noise because you're going to have both
Yes.
the minute you decide to do something
Yep.
bigger.
Yep. Oh, it's so true. Um, oh, what did an agent say to me yesterday? She said they're so worried about my business because their business is bad. And I'm like, or their business, and I'm like, well, that's just that to you is noise. Like you need to just ignore it and put your head down and keep going.
Well, and are you playing for the short term or the
Yeah.
long term? Because I can't tell you a time in our businesses that we haven't had to cut expenses, just to ride out the time and make sure we're doing the right activities. So I think we need a longer
Yep.
term vision because here's the thing. I don't think there's any better industries out there than the one
Yep.
we're
No.
in.
Yep.
So once we say I'm in for the long game, you know, I don't and I think the obstacles and the things that we come up against are just a test of how bad do we want our
Mhm.
success and is this really the vehicle we can get it in, and it is the vehicle we can get almost any amount of success you want. But I think also ignoring that it's going to be the thing forever is not
Yeah.
realistic. Or how do I keep morphing it in such a way that I keep that passion and that energy and that excitement? It can't look like if I was still doing what I did back in the beginning, oh, I'd be so
Yeah.
burnt out
Yeah.
right now. But instead, you kind of learn how to take those talents and those things that you have and morph them into the
Yeah.
things and get rid of your plate the things that are burning you out and taking away your energy. And I don't think we've ever been trained how to do
Mm-mm.
that.
Well, and then when you
You know,
really
everybody,
get that, the other stuff starts to compound, like John has taught us, and then it compounds on top of
yes,
each other, on the top of the next thing, on top of the next thing, and you've had compounding success when you get rid of the things that you know shouldn't be doing anymore, and then and the rest, the good things start to compound. Like there's you're not still selling houses and on the top of roofs telling people to list with you, but your same talents that you did then because you said yes to bigger and bigger and bigger things have all compounded to now turn into this challenge where you're sharing those with everybody else. Like it just compounds.
yeah. And I think when people associate having bigger goals with more effort, they don't want to
Yeah.
do them. That's the first thing. Well, I don't even want to do what I'm doing now. You mean I got to do bigger? And no, you got to do different.
Mhm.
A great example of this, and I just shared this in the challenge this week. One of the girls in our 10X Accelerator, because she is challenging her mind, because we underestimate how valuable. I think number one, the Lord helps us
Yeah.
when we go for big things, right? And the other thing is how much our brains are wired to solve the problems we
Yeah.
give it. So if we give it small problems, it'll solve
Yeah.
small problems. If we give it big problems, it'll wake up and do that. And she said, I was really wrestling with how do I do
Mhm.
this thing that I've committed
Mhm.
to? And she said, I was journaling. And so when I was journaling, she said, it came to mind. Oh my gosh, this weekend when I am on my son's tour or whatever they call them, what we just did, volleyball tournaments. This is a basketball tournament. I'm with a CPA and I'm with a divorce attorney.
Mhm.
Those people have chance to give you
Bit
multiple
lots of
deals.
business. Yeah.
Yeah, and so instead of thinking, how do I get one deal? Now she's got an opportunity to meet people who can give her multiple
Mm.
deals. Now we're going to 10x some
Yep.
stuff, right? And I think had she not given herself that challenge, and then somebody in the challenge this week said, because I was thinking like this, I had a big piece of property, and I just emailed some developers, and I got 2 offers right off the bat on a $20 million
Wow.
deal. So I think we're not keeping ourselves in the state. We're so focused on all the drudge and the got to do more and all
Yeah.
that, that we're not moving ourselves to a higher
Yeah.
plane so that we can come up with different solutions that will get us
Yeah. I
excited
totally
again,
agree with
that
that.
will energize
Gosh,
us
I
again.
totally agree with that.
So it's kind of cool. I mean, I'm just so excited. I'm on fire from
I love
because
it.
I'm watching this and I'm seeing, oh my gosh, if we could just all understand how to use this as a
Mhm.
tool, uh, even when life gives us a gradually and suddenly, which it
Yeah.
will, this would be the same model and system you would use to get out of that
Yeah,
too,
well,
right?
I'm
And we're going to
actually
get
I'm
there.
I'm reading that book Gradually Then Suddenly by Mark Batterson right now, and gosh, I mean, so many good lessons in there, but it's so true because I mean, it does. I mean, life gives you a gradually then suddenly, and all in the times when you least expect it, and the things you least expect it, all that. I mean, it's life.
Yeah. And if people wonder why I have a sense of urgency, because I've had enough of those that I'm like, you can't, I mean, go
Yeah,
faster because going faster helps you be better prepared. Now, I know God's in control, and to be honest with you, we can't control
yeah,
everything, but we can do our best to be able to be in situations that we can not suffer as
yep,
much when a graduate suddenly
yep.
happens. And I love this book. I haven't finished it yet, but I love because the same on we tend to think about the bad gradually
Mhm.
and suddenly, but
That's
there's good
good. Yeah,
gradually and
yeah,
suddenly,
yep,
you know? So you can see it both ways. All I gotta do is take one little step towards making a positive gradually and
yeah,
suddenly. What's the one step I could take? Well, one I think is set a big goal that makes you
yeah.
terrified to think how to do it without more effort.
Hmm.
How to do it without more
Yeah,
effort. Because it's the more effort and the
yep.
grind that has got so many entrepreneurs
Yeah,
burnt out.
yeah, it's so good. I mean, I just took a ton of pages of notes. So really, really, really good. I think this is very relevant content for for a lot of our listeners right now, for sure. And it's definitely it makes me want to go back and look through everything I have going on and really see in the things I'm not having the progress in, where truly where are the like what is the bottleneck or where is the bottleneck? I don't know which one you're supposed to say.
Yeah, and then just maybe having something where we do it more
Yeah.
regular. I mean, just I love teaching because when I teach, I have ahas myself,
Yes.
and none of us are immune to
Yeah.
this. I think once you're teaching it, you're even more
Yep.
convicted to do it yourself, right? And so just looking, and I just think about, when I really felt God's nudge to do the challenge,
Yep.
Dana, um, I knew that the only way I would make myself do it. And what's interesting is I don't even know what all I was doing before this, because now this is consuming my time. But which we're in the hardest part. We're
Yeah.
creating as we go. But the interesting thing is the magic happened when I just put myself out there and said, "Here's the date. I'm doing
Mm-hmm.
it." And then I'm like, "Oh crap! I don't know how to do it."
You got to figure it
So
out.
who is the who that knows how to
Yeah.
do it? And so I think that's the other thing too is even just outwardly. The girl that was in the challenge this week said just by outwardly saying it to my
Yeah.
team, raised my level of
Yep.
commitment, raised my
Mm-hmm.
accountability, and she said, it
Yeah.
worked, right? And so I think some of those things would help people right now if they're
Oh,
burnt out
totally.
and they don't know is just be honest with yourself and say, you know, maybe I'm thinking a bigger goal would be more
Yep.
grind and I maybe just need to test myself with a bigger
Mm-hmm.
goal.
Yep. Yep. I love it. So good.
Yeah. Awesome. Anyway, I'm super
Are you
excited
having another
that
one?
not
When's the
next.
next one?
Oh, I think it's going to be Zoe knows. I think it's first week in
It'll
May. I
be in
think we already
May.
have. Yeah, usually it's the first week of,
Okay.
of the month, and Zoe has a wait list. So I'm going to put a download in there, and when you get the download from today on how to look at bottlenecks and find them, is she'll send you an email and let you know when the
Oh,
next
good.
one's coming.
And that
But
that
I'm excited.
downloadable
2
is going to
weeks.
be that action challenge, right? Is that what you're okay?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
good. Oh yeah, I
yeah.
need that too. Send that to me.
Because one of the things, yes, because one of the things we've been doing is spending a little bit more time. You remember, because reflection is where people see things and they can see the truth that they're pretending not
Yeah.
to know. And so a lot of what we do is, make you ask
Yeah.
questions that you need to be asking yourself already that you maybe haven't slowed down long enough. And I'm surprised the people that actually do the homework, they really have some
Oh
revelations
yeah.
that happen because they actually slow down long enough to inspect some
Yeah.
things. But yeah, I'll send you a copy
Awesome.
also. And then I'm excited in 2 weeks, we're going to learn
Yes.
from
From
Matt.
Mac
So
Lake,
excited.
Super Multiplier, his course in Charleston. Yeah, if anybody's listening, I think there's still a couple seats open. So shoot us an email or a message on Instagram and let us know. But yeah, I can't wait. It's gonna be so good.
Yeah, awesome. All right. Well, Dana, have a great week, and I will
Sounds
see you
good.
next
See you
week.
too.
And remember, if you have not hit the subscribe button, please go ahead and do that now. And the greatest compliments you can pay us is 2 things. One, pass this podcast along to anybody that you know of that would really enjoy these conversations. And then number 2, give us a great review if you liked it, because when you give us a great review, other people can find it a lot easier. And then if you have a question, an opportunity, a guest, or a challenge that you're up against and you'd like for us to discuss it on the podcast, be sure and reach out to us at info@everything life and real estate.
Be sure to subscribe for more business strategies and tactics to inspire you to live an abundant real estate life. Don't forget to rate and review so we can bring you the best content. Find this and other valuable information at everythinglifeandrealestate.com.